Let's talk about the use of clear backpacks in some neighboring schools and whether or not that'd be a good idea for our Christian schools.
This episode of the Christian Principles Podcast is brought to you by the Herzog Foundation. And as always, the thoughts and opinions expressed within this episode are those of your hosts and not necessarily the Herzog Foundation. Welcome to the Christian Principles Podcast. I am Matt George.
Mark Zockoll. Tonight we're going to talk about a public school measure that's being taken, which on the surface is meant to promote the safety of children. And we're interested in it, interested in seeing what our thoughts are together, having not reviewed this together before, as well as what the thoughts of you would be later on, because perhaps you already have thoughts, perhaps you already have policies that are very similar to this one. Before we keep going, though, I do need to say it is difficult to watch my sports teams lose. It's very difficult to watch them lose in a big way. It's very difficult to watch them lose in a big way to teams that are neighboring. Today, the Phillies came and just destroyed Baltimore in a pitiful baseball game that had two major rain delays. And for the second straight night, we scored, count them, 0 runs. Just not great before the trade deadline, not what I was hoping for, not what I was wanting, and especially because I go to church with many people who are fans of this Phillies team. I can't wait for the conversations about how it was such a blowout and blah, 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 blah. This just is not my favorite type of loss. Give me a loss that's close, of course, and far, far away on the West Coast, but not 3 hours from my backyard. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, man?
I mean, in this case, I guess I can feel for you because I don't like losing to the Phillies either. So
That's true. Absolutely. We're going to talk about a clear backpack policy set up in Wicomico County, Maryland. Before we do that, let's hear from the Herzog Foundation and then from GradeLink Student Information Systems. So just a reminder about the vision for the Stanley M. Herzog Foundation. The Herzog Foundation exists to catalyze and accelerate the development of quality Christian-centered K-12 education. Our vision is for families and culture to flourish through quality Christian education. The legacy of Stan's career centers around making national transit ecosystems accessible and sustainable. Likewise, the legacy of Stan's philanthropy centers around making the ecosystems of Christian education more accessible and sustainable for families across the nation. And we see that accessibility being such a big deal in our nation right now as school choice continues to grow. But I do want to share with you my screen so that you are able to see the programs available to you at the Herzog Foundation, including one that is far less invasive, the Heartlander News. It comes to your inbox should you want to pick up the Heartlander News, formerly the Lion. The Herzog Foundation is where we're going to go in a second, but also know there is Schoolbox, there's the Herzog Ambassador Program, American Dream Speaker Series, Faith and Nation Student Forum, Teacher of the Year opportunities, and so much more. But click over here to the Herzog Foundation's Leadership Development Series opportunities, which I'm going to now share on this screen. What you will see are opportunities coming up for you to join with the Herzog Foundation. You get there, they'll pay for everything else in these leadership development series. So I skipped forward to later September, which perhaps would be the first time you had a chance to actually get a hold of one of these series. But notice this, donor development out in Simi Valley, California. Let's say you don't want to get away later in the year, or you have the opportunity early in the year, whatever it might be. And I'll say this again, if you can't step away from your school without your school collapsing, you need to go for like 2 weeks to step away from your school because it shouldn't be your ministry. It needs to be the Lord's ministry. But besides that, take an opportunity to get away for yourself and for your school by making yourself stronger in one of these multitude of ways. There's also the board leadership in October 2026, and we'll see some of these throughout this these opportunities repeat themselves throughout the year. But specifically to mention board leadership, this is one which requires both you and the head of your school board to be there. So again, they plan for multiple people from an institution being there, attending this conference. They'll put you up, they'll feed you, they'll give you the workbooks, they'll give you a gift as you walk away. All of this being part of what the Herzog Foundation does to make your Christian school stronger so they meet their mission as well as they're able. Matt, can you tell us a little bit about the GradeLink Student Information Systems now?
Yeah, of course, we have greatly appreciated working with GradeLink Student Information Systems, not only as a sponsor of the pod, but also using it in our school setting. And would love to see more of you getting involved in using GradeLink. But if you are a GradeLink user, we're getting to the start of the school year where we might need a little refresher on how to do things, or maybe we could look at how to improve some of the things that we're using with GradeLink. GradeLink offers free training for admins and teachers. This would also be a great opportunity to be getting those newly hired faculty up and ready for the school year. So there are trainings available, concise courses, nothing super busy or too in depth, but right to the point. Practical helps us to be able to use our time efficiently. So if you're interested in the training that GradeLink offers, just head right over to training.gradelink.com. You can sign up for free courses. And if you are not a GradeLink user, you definitely want to be, and you want to get there by going to cpp.gradelink.com and signing up for yourself.
With that link, because we actually do earn a little bit. We don't talk about earning on this podcast very much. It's pretty obvious we do have 2 partners, and we're thankful for those partners that help us out. But when you help us out by going to any of the links that we provide, of course, at this point, these affiliate links are something quite common to most people. When you go to cpp.gradelink.com, or you let the Herzog Foundation know, of course it helps us out. And there at GradeLink, it helps us out even financially. So we have had 2 schools, count them 2 schools, that have gone to GradeLink Student Information Systems via that link, and they have made themselves a part of the GradeLink family through it. So thank you so much to those 2 schools, and we hope that others might join them. Now, back to your regularly scheduled programming after I have complained about the Orioles, after we have introduced the topic, and after we have heard from our partners. To do that, I want to skip over to this report from WBOC. WBOC is Delmarva's news leader. Matt, what was your hometown news source called growing up in Shalakta? Shalakta. Not even a place.
I don't even what was it? I mean, KDKA Pittsburgh was really what we were still dealing with. Fun fact, KDKA, very first public radio broadcasting service in the United States. But yeah,
they were all about public access. They had Mr. Rogers. They got the first public radio, all that kind of stuff, man. They just like being the first ones, apparently.
Pittsburgh's it's a place to be.
It's a hopping place. All right. Well, anyway, WBOC, nuclear backpack policy set for Wicomico Middle and High School. So what's going to happen here is it has been introduced this summer that there is a pilot program coming about in Wicomico Middle and High School, which those are 2 out of a number of different middle schools and high schools throughout Wicomico County. They're just named for the county themselves, but there's plenty of brother and sister schools that are middle schools and high schools throughout. The pilot program is set to bring in clear backpacks when the new school year begins, and this is a pilot program in these 2 schools used to improve safety in the schools. I think one of the questions I want to ask throughout the evening, Matt, is how far is too far for safety? Is there a limit? You know, we can couch this in terms of we could put up chain link fence, barbed wire, and gun turrets. We could do nothing, right? We have to find out where we're going to be. And do we criticize the public schools near us for taking this stance on clear backpacks? Just to keep reading here for a moment, we do have some Salisbury residents talking about, I think this is a great idea. I think it's a way to keep children safe. We know how to keep our children safe. We just don't do it. I think the backpacks are beginning for it. So Sheila Nauman, anyway, thinks that we're not keeping our children safe if we don't do this. There is another one, Cynthia Rivers, who is a Y-High parent. My only drawback right now is my daughter's first year of high school last year. We invested in a $65 JanSport backpack that she intended to carry all 4 years, which is why we made the investment. So for pointing out as monetary reasons being the only reasons not to do something, I am questioning whether or not that's a good enough reason. So Matt, just quick top of your head response. What you see here is what you get. It is rather straightforward. Wicomico County Schools will pilot a program this year that demands students to have clear backpacks. thinking
Yeah.
that in the next year, all the public schools in the Wicomico County area will have them. As you respond to that, I'll pull up a few more notes on it to give some more context, but go ahead. What do you think about this?
Yeah, well, I know that Wicomico County isn't, at the cutting edge of education in our country. They're not the first ones to come up with this. Of course, I'm pretty sure I know of others that have been doing this maybe for a year or so. Like it's not old hat or old news. The first time I saw that they were going to be enacting this policy, my immediate question goes to, and we've talked about this on the pod. I think we're now mandating clear backpacks, which just means those that want to do something wrong are going to find other ways to do the wrong. That was my immediate thought. It wasn't oh, that's going to make the schools safer. I that wasn't my gut reaction of, oh wow, now we're going to be safe. My gut reaction was those that follow the rules are going to follow the rules, and those that don't are going to find some other way of accomplishing what they're trying to do.
A Google search will not bring up many Christian schools, if any, at least quickly, that have a clear backpack policy. So I would expect the majority of our listeners, this would be something that is foreign to your school specifically. But I'd also be interested to hear how many of your schools see a public school or another school in the area that is having a everyday, not just stadium policy, but an everyday clear backpack policy. Just to, again, I told you I was going to add a little bit more nuance to the thought here. Under the policy, a small personal bag maybe carried inside the clear book bag. I think about that probably for the young ladies, especially. Families are responsible for purchasing a clear book bag before the first day of school. So again, this does come down to the parents not being school provided, though I imagine, as is the case often, the school system will probably wind up providing quite a bit of aid to those students, or the community at some point will provide quite a bit of aid via clear backpacks and accessing them somehow in such a way as that all will have access to them at some point, because that's what the community usually does. I'll give it credit for doing so. They'll try to find a way to make this available for everybody somehow, some way.
Yeah, I mean, I when I was doing some research on what schools have been doing this, I'm seeing that there's Richmond Public Schools that have been doing that, a couple K to 12. Green Bay area have been using for middle schools and high schools. But I was also noticing that some that have already piloted and tried these kind of things didn't have enough support or evidence to say, hey, we saw a significant change in either safety or I think another big thing that they're trying to kind of push with this is not just that they can look inside a bag and see, oh, you have a gun, you don't have a gun, or you have things you're supposed to have, you don't have things you're supposed to have. But it's supposed to be for the students to be able to say, oh, I can see in their backpack too, and I feel safer because I don't see anything dangerous. But I think even going back to what my gut response was, I think it's still going to be a lot of other people's response. If they're going to be nervous or upset that security is not, or I shouldn't say security, their safety is not guaranteed, they're still going to know, hey, there are these group of kids or these group of individuals that are in my school that no matter what the rules are, they're gonna find a way around them. They're going to do what they can to disrupt and to, create an atmosphere of unsafety. And so that's where I'm gonna be interested to see what immediate reactions once the kids are going back to school and they're using these clear book bags as a policy. Is there going to be any kind of a drastic change outside of just, well, we can see into their book bags and they're not bringing anything they're not supposed to be?
Yeah, this will be interesting. And being a private school in the area, I'm sure you're going to hear about this from parents and students. There will be opinions on, hey, we get to still have our non-transparent book bags with us. Haha. And there'll be thoughts from parents on, why aren't we doing this too? I thought this affected us too. I went out. You'll have parents that think they're supposed to buy this because it'll be available to them at the local Walmart or whatever, and they'll think they're supposed to have it for school too and complain when they realize they haven't. They don't have to do it as their public school peers do. But let me ask you this. What are your thoughts on how quickly you would adopt this for your school?
Yeah. The question that also came through my mind on that point of, what would I do if parents came to me and said, I think this would be a good thing for us too? Um, uh, at the end of the day, when students are coming in, we've talked about the whole, when you bring your book bag on campus, it is, we can search it if we feel the need to do that. That's not a problem. But how often are we actually digging in? How often are we really looking at what students are bringing to school? And the fact of the matter is, we're not looking that often, or that, I shouldn't say that carefully, but we're just, there comes a point in time where you hit a stride of, yep, things are going the way they're supposed to be going. And if a student happens to bring something in their book bag that we're not supposed to, could they make it through a day without being caught? Absolutely. I can see that happening. So that gets us to the question, do we would it not be better for us to say, well, we can guarantee, because we've seen the contents of their book bag every single day, that they're not bringing something that they're not supposed to? Yes, sure, that could heighten the level of security. But
I'd say especially if we don't have metal detectors in place,
yeah,
especially if we don't have some of what peers might have. I don't see this as some hugely invasive policy. I see it as one which is probably for the first year, like many policies, for the first year, I see it as one which would be even off-putting to a family that wants to be confidential is probably a better word than secretive. They don't want their children's stuff out in the open. At the same time, that only goes so far with school supplies. So I'm, uh, and in a school that, much like the first respondent they got with a negative opinion, was, we already paid for something else. Okay, so the announcement a year prior or a good bit prior. But even then, I have no problem with the county doing this. I really don't, especially as I know that in the community, there will be book bag drives and there will be opportunities abundant for different people to step in and to make those clear book bags available to those who otherwise wouldn't be able to get the hold of them because of some financial reason or whatever else. I imagine by the end of the school year, they're going to have issues with the way these have been bedazzled or logoed or something
sure.
else. I think,
Well, that's
and
what I
it
was
could
going to
even be
say.
like your water bottle a situation a couple of years ago where you want them
Mhm.
just providing them, right?
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say. When it comes to book bags, I know that the criticism of this a lot has been, well, what about privacy? Well, when privacy is put up against security, you're going to go with security every time. So we know that's not so much the issue, and they are providing an opportunity to still keep personal, private things private. Um, but book bags tend to be that way to show a personality, right? And that, I guess, that aspect of a student's social, give and take, that is kind of being ripped away. I don't know if you can really personalize these clear, like your clear bag has a green hue and mine has a purple hue. Like, it's I know when I was a kid, I did not have a fancy book bag whatsoever. In fact, I remember we were doing some back to school shopping, and there was this big, like, just box filled up with all of these really, really cheap book bags for like $2. And I was like, hey, I like that. I'm going to pick it up. And I used it for all of high school. It was just a plain black book bag, didn't really have anything special on it. But that was it. Like for me, it was a bag. Let's put it in the locker and forget about it and let it get beat up because I didn't spend any money on it. But I also know that there are kids in my class that I don't even know if they went through a whole year with the same book bag because they're just, the change of the seasons. Like, I want to show off. I want to do this. And it says something about you. Kids that come in to school, are bedazzling their book bags to fit their personality or whatever. So how much of that's going to be allowed versus not be allowed? Is that really an important element of school? I mean, I don't know. I mean, that gets into development and all these other kind of things, but that would be another thing that along the lines of, well, we already bought a book bag. Uh, you know, some parents may actually say, well, a big part of our back to school tradition is them finding that bag for the year that's, shouts them, and it is going to be an encouragement every morning they get up and they get to pack up their book bag and wear it into the school building and get those comments from their classmates or their teachers, whatever else. Like that may be a difficult thing to work through. But again, as you said, as it's introduced, if it becomes a norm, then it just becomes another norm.
Exactly right. I'm just having more and more problems finding an issue with this. I'm having more and more problems finding an issue that really stands up against what you said earlier, the privacy versus, or the personality versus security. If all we got is privacy, if all we have is personality, those are probably worthwhile obstacles to create an FAQ about and then to move past. I think that's where I am on this.
I think the only other thing, which this is so much more of a semantic more than it is an actual issue with the policy itself, is that we got this notification in the middle of the summer. And so, as you said, parents probably did already have some book bags already purchased ahead of time. So it seems like a really odd time to be announcing that you're going to be implementing this change. I would have preferred to, if I was going to do that in my school, to be saying that well in advance, even before the previous school year was done. Hey, just a heads up, next year we're making this move. But that would be the only other thing that for a pretty big changeover, like a little bit more heads up, maybe would have softened the blow a little bit.
Back to communication. Hey, we recorded a podcast on that. We should go check that out, right? All right, it's time to move on to our Christian Administrator Spotlight. This Christian Administrator Spotlight is going out to Pastor Colin Morton. Pastor Colin Morton, he is at Cornerstone Baptist Academy in Cornerstone Baptist Church, and that would be near the Indianapolis, Indiana area, though I don't exactly know where that is right here. Let me look up Lawrenceville. We are in Lawrenceville, Indiana. So Pastor Morton, as he serves there as a leader in Cornerstone Baptist Academy, we are celebrating you this evening, and we'll be looking forward to sending your canary envelope of encouragement to you. Matt's going to pray for you now, Pastor Morton.
Father, thank you so much for Pastor Morton and the leadership that he has there at Cornerstone. Pray that as they're preparing for their school year and perhaps even thinking through security updates, thinking through the ways they can best encourage their families, that they are doing what they can to support safety and support the integrity of their school. Just pray that whatever policies they may have, that they would uphold the mission that the school has. I'm sure to reach out to these families in the Indianapolis area to encourage them in, first of all, their walk with you and the educating of their children. So I pray that you would help Pastor Morton as he prepares for that. I'm sure even working with his church family, just pray that you would give him the strength that he needs as he prepares for this upcoming school year, as he walks with you. May you be honored and glorified in all that is done. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
All right. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Pastor Morton. Everybody, follow us on Spotify. Follow us on Apple Podcasts. Please subscribe for us on YouTube. We greatly appreciate it. Besides that, thanks for rolling with us today.
We want to thank you for listening. We're honored that you spend this time with us each week. Our heart is to bring you practical conversations and resources that really serve you as a Christian school leader. One of the best ways you can help us spread the word is by leaving us a review and sharing the podcast with other Christian school principals you're connected with. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Join the conversation and share any posts that resonate with you. Every share makes a difference in helping more leaders find encouragement and practical tools. And remember, the podcast is just one way we help. We also love serving schools through speaking and workshops. Our keynotes and sessions are designed to give you actionable strategies you can take back to your team and implement right away. If you'd like more details, just send us an email at info@christianprinciplespodcast.com. We'd love to connect. Until next time, thanks for joining us on the Christian Principles Podcast.